Okay. I'm going to start PS by the way for this year. This is book two. I'm going to do chapter one and chapter two tonight for PS by the way. Um, I have been working on some revisions with the chapters and kind of giving more context than all of them. So, what I'm going to do tonight is just do chapter one and chapter two of book two. And chapter one says when someone is offering a helping hand and wanting nothing in return, take it. Put all your pride aside. Now, with chapter one, I'm going to say this is that in the midst of saying that, the idea of putting your pride aside is something that kind of takes time. Everybody is not able to accept help. Um, and it's something that I've struggled with as well. Is that asking for help? It's something about being prideful that just makes you feel like I don't need any help. I'm going to figure this out for myself. And one of the biggest things is that a person can I want to say one of the biggest things, but one of the bad things a person, let me say bad, but one of the things that a person can do that can be detrimental to them is the idea that you don't need help when everybody needs help. Now, with this chapter, it's not to say to not look at a person and say, I wonder why this person is helping me. But if the help is coming from someone that you know and that you trust and you've been around for a long time, then you know getting help from that person isn't it shouldn't be that much of a hardship. Putting pride aside at times can be hard because the idea is that now you're in need of something. And there are times when being in need of something can be somewhat of a problem because you for me, and I guess I'll speak from my perspective, which is I wonder if the person is going to mention this to someone else if we're in mixed company. That's the pride talking. Because if the person did it out of the goodness of their heart, then it shouldn't come up in mixed company. It shouldn't come up as a oh yeah, I did this for so and so, I did that for so and so. It should never come up in the first place because you did it out of goodness of your heart, or they did it out of the goodness of their heart. But when someone is offering you a helping hand, it's not to say that you can't do it on your own. But the idea is that they're saying, "Hey, I just want to help. I'm just trying to help you. I don't mean any harm. I don't mean any disrespect. I'm just wanting to be helpful." And sometimes help doesn't come from people that you know. Sometimes help can come from a stranger. And when help comes from a stranger, I mean, you kind of run the risk of, okay, well, who is this person? So and so this and so on. But I mean, I think this is kind of where context matters because if it's a person that you don't know, and depending on what it is, this is where the context come in. Depending on what it is, if a person sees you stumble, right? Stumble as in like a physical fall, and someone comes to assist to help you back up, you can push their hand away if you choose to. They're just trying to help you. So it depends on what the help actually is because there are times when you may see a person that's like um, they may see that you may be short of money at the cash register and they say, well, hey, listen, I have a couple of dollars, I can help you out. And sometimes they don't even say anything, just say, here you go. They'll just hand the money to the cashier and say, here you go. It's not really meant to be like anything disrespectful per se, but it's more or less like a gesture of humanity. There are people in society that are actually really nice people. This is their way of showing that they're nice people. Um, but they're just trying to help you, and they don't want anything in return. They're not asking for anything in return. Sometimes you have to put your pride aside in order to get the blessing that's there. And blessings don't necessarily mean that you're a religious person. A blessing is just something that comes to you that's very good. The idea is that it comes from a great place or good place, a wholesome place, and not from a place of um, a place of you know um, not coming from like a nasty place or ugly place. It's really coming from a place of good gesture, goodwill. Chapter 2 of book 2, it says, when I was a child, I played all the childish games. But when I became a man and all my childish games went away, if you are a man that is still playing childish games, then maybe being a man is not for you. That's taken from a Bible scripture, from Proverbs. But the way that I'm choosing to interpret it, it's a little different from what scripture is. And I add the final part because that's kind of where I'm taking this particular piece. If you are a man that is still playing childish games, then maybe being a man is not for you. Because essentially you're just playing a man. You're not actually a man, you're just playing one. I say that to say this. When you get into a relationship with a person and you're not able to be a provider, a lover, a trusted confidant, then what are you there for? It kind of becomes a a one-sided relationship. Sometimes we have to find our path and then find a partner or partners, depending on what you like. I use the term man and I capitalize it in this particular chapter. It's to understand that it's not just man as in man, but it's woman, it's gentleman, it's gentle lady. It encompasses man being a human being, not man as in a person who has a certain genitalia. The idea is in this particular chapter is to express the idea that if you're going to continue on the path of being a child instead of an adult, then you need to understand that adulthood right now is not for you. You may be of age as an adult. You may be 21. You may be 25. You may be 35. You might even be 45. But the adult part hasn't kicked in yet, i.e., the man part hasn't kicked in. Because the idea when you become a man is that you take responsibility for whatever it is that's going on around you. You don't blame people. You don't make excuses. You don't try to pretend as if these things are just oblivious to you. You make the lemonade from the lemons that you were given. And sometimes those lemons are very little and far in between. But you make the best of whatever you're given and you do the best with what you have. So if you're still playing the blame game, if you're still playing the it's their fault, if you're still playing the um, I tried but it didn't work, whatever your excuse is, at the end of the day, you have to learn and you have to grow. And sometimes you do have to learn from your past mistakes, even if you it's hard to even look at. The mistakes that are mistakes that are made, and those mistakes should be learned from. And if you can learn from those mistakes, you can probably become even better and understand, okay, well, maybe if I change this, maybe if I do this differently, maybe you really have to have a perspective of self and have an understanding of, okay, maybe if I did this a little differently going forward, maybe this thing will change. And it's a lot of maybes because the idea is that if you're still playing the games, you don't really know who you are yet. So you have to start questioning you. if relationships are failing, if jobs are not working out, if you know people around you aren't really respecting you, there you have to begin to kind of question yourself to kind of get a perspective on what exactly is the problem, because that encompasses accountability. And once you get responsibility, accountability, and all the other abilities, it creates the ability. It creates a situation where you really have to review and have a conversation with self. Because what is it about you that you feel like you can't overcome this cycle of, in this particular chapter, childishness? And when you graduate out of childishness into basically manhood, and again, man is being used in the absentee of human, which that's basically what I'm talking, because it's not just a man, it's human. So coming out of childhood, you could be male or female or whatever gender you choose, and not say choose, but choose is a little controversial. But what I mean by that is that if you, because understanding gender is a construct, it's a construct. So the idea of it of it being simply you coming out of childishness and you become an adult, and where is that parallel?